Welcome to another video coverage of This Week in Rails. I'm Dave Kumira, and today we have Emmanuel bringing us the updates. And again, This Week in Rails is not something that I create, I simply provide the video coverage of it. So if you'd like to receive your own email copy, you can go to world.hey.com/this.week.in.rails. So let's dive right in. So for the first item, we have high changes to before committed behavior behind config. And essentially what this means is that we had a update to the before committed callback, and it started to apply on every record instead of just the first new record of a similar type. So with this change, we are basically reverting back to the original functionality, but now it's a configurable option if you wanted to apply to every record instead of just the first committed one. And the next one, TimeHelpers include with USEC keyword parameter on travel and freeze too. So if you're doing a lot of testing around time zones, and if you have flaky tests around time, then this one may help you stabilize your tests a bit. Because we can look at this note, for the time pass will be set to 0, or this would be the destination time to prevent rounding errors with external services like MySQL. And the next one is a great quality of life improvement because I come across this one all the time. And I'll often forget to include that empty hash if I don't have any form options, if I just need the HTML option. So the allow fselect to be called with a single hash containing options and HTML options. So before, you would have to have a select, whether it's a select tag or a form select. And if you didn't have any of the form options for the select, like an include blank is equal to true or false, then you would have to pass in an empty hash, and then you could pass in HTML option. So now, if you don't have any of the form options, you don't have to pass in an empty hash, it'll just work if you list them all out. And the next one is also another very nice update, where we are fixing the inconsistent behavior in the form helper date time tags with options. So before, if we had a date time field, and we wanted to pass the value, then we were having to stirf time it, basically formatting it in the way we want, but now we can pass in a date time object and it's going to work as expected. And for the last item in the update, we have document 4 ways to preload single table inheritances. And so I don't want to minimize this because I think adding documentation is a great thing, because I find myself coming back to the Rails docs quite a bit when I'm looking for some niche or some certain kind of functionality. So having this up to date, being a living document is wonderful, and I really appreciate everyone who is helping contribute to Rails, and hopefully that's something that we'll see even more of as the Rails Foundation gets off the ground. And so in the past week, there were 26 contributors to Rails, and I really appreciate everyone's help that has helped make Rails a better framework. So again, thank you all for all your hard work, I really appreciate it. Well, that's all for this week's video coverage of This Week in Rails. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you next week.